Hello, and welcome to this Infilink video tutorial. Infilink provides one linear gauge wizard and two angular gauge wizards. In this video, we will check out one of the very powerful wizards of Infilink, which is Super Gauge Wizard. Using this wizard, you can create cool-looking gauges for your Infilink project. These gauges are created with Super Gauge Wizard, and you can see them in the demo project, which gets installed on your computer when you install Infilink. HMI or SCADA project creators want to present the user interface, which closely resembles actual plant visuals. This Super Gauge Wizard enables the project creators to create the gauges which look cool, as well as near to their real-life appearance. We will see how to use this wizard object and create couple of gauges. We are in design mode of Infilink, and I have just created a blank project. Let me create a gauge object using this Super Gauge Wizard. This is the Super Gauge object, which is created by default. It is tied to the system tag second. Let me quickly save and run the project and see it working. We can see that the gauge is showing the value of system tag second. This is the default behavior of this wizard. Now let us get back to design mode and modify this wizard object to create a different gauge. I will be using this Infilink project. I have created a tag T1. Using this slider object, I am going to change the value of T1 from -200 to 200. The gauge object will show the value of tag T1. For the angles used in the gauge object, refer to this diagram. The angles are measured in degrees and increase in counterclockwise direction. I will create the same gauge object from scratch, step by step. But before doing that, let us quickly go to run mode and see the gauge in action. Now let us go back to design mode and create this same gauge from scratch, step by step. These gauge elements are highly configurable, and hence there are a lot of settings. By controlling their geometry, counts, colors, and values, fonts, and many such characteristics, you can create the gauge the way you want it. gauge object is now fully done. Let us save and run the project. We have seen how Super Gauge Wizard enables you to construct cool-looking gauges using basic gauge elements like arcs, pointers, hub, ticks and background. Actually, I have not used the background element. Let me quickly show it. This Gauge Wizard even allows you to change certain properties at runtime. For tick element, major tick count and minimum maximum values can be tied to tags. By changing the tag values at runtime, through scripts, you can change tick element of the gauge. Similarly for pointer element, its limiting values at start and end positions can be tied to tags and can be changed in runtime. It is highly unlikely that somebody will want that to do in runtime, but this is what happens when software designer goes crazy. You can explore that feature too. The gauge is not limited to showing only one tag value. You can use many pointer elements and show more than one tag values on the gauge. You can even use expressions, like T1 plus T2 in place of tag for a pointer, and the pointer will show the value of that expression. In next few screens, I will show you some possible variations of elements of this Super Gauge Wizard. These are few possible variations of tick elements. You can change the count of major and minor ticks, their widths, colors, positions, alignments, like a line inside, a line center, or a line outside. You can have different types of major or minor ticks. You can change their fill and line colors. You can show or not show the labels. The labels can be outside or inside. Label text can be normal horizontal or rotated to show at 90-degree angle to the tick. Label font and color can be set. Labels can be set to show particular number of digits after decimal point. In short, there are lots and lots of variations possible. These are few possible variations of arc elements. Arcs can have various start angles and sweep angles. Different end caps are possible. You can use color gradients which changes angle changes or radius changes. You can create colored sections to show normal and high operating zones for the quantity displayed by the gauge. These are few possible variations of pointer elements. Notice that you can have semi-transparent pointer that will show the digits below. Now let us see how this gauge object is realized. It can show two different quantities on the single gauge. Or actually two gauges are created within a single super gauge object. Using center offset property of the tick, arc, and pointer elements, the gauge inside gauge is created. I am just going to break up this group object, tear it apart, and show you how this object is created. You can pause the video and look at the properties of each gauge element. That will give you an idea of how these kind of compound gauges can be realized using this super gauge wizard. Let us see one more such gauge by breaking it apart. That is it for this video. I hope you have now pretty good idea about this super gauge wizard object. In case you have any questions or suggestions, you can always contact our support group. Thanks for watching this video and bye for now.